It's time for Thursday Night Live with Dr. Rita Louise, which is me. So thank you all for tuning in tonight. We're going to have a great show because I've decided we're going to have a great show. So tonight and for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be talking about narcissism and empaths, and kind of explore some of the topics that are in this book, The Dysfunctional Dance of the Empath and Narcissist, because I think it's really important. And I've been getting a lot of commentary and calls about this topic. So it just seemed timely to share this information more specifically with you. And to start this topic, I'm just going to read from the book because I was going to put together notes and I was like, this reads so much better. It reads so much better than anything that I would just say. But we'll be back to my regular kind of rambunctious rambling next week. Okay, so again, from this book, Dysfunctional Dance of the Empath and Narcissist, and the section is The Anatomy of a Narcissist. The internet is full of articles about narcissism. Narcissism is a characteristic of all cluster B personality disorders. Cluster B personality disorders are selfish by nature and lack empathy to varying degrees. Their egocentric temperament is what puts these individuals with cluster B personality traits on the far right of our empathic spectrum. So with empathy on one side and then cluster B personalities on the other side. With individuals with full-blown narcissistic or psychopathic personality disorder at the far end of the spectrum. Narcissism, unlike empathy or empathic individuals, has been intensely studied in psychological circles because narcissists leave a morbid trail of pain and suffering in their wake. Narcissism, in the general sense of the word, is not a bad thing. A certain amount of self-centeredness is healthy. Too little of a sense of self can lead to self-esteem and self-worth issues. Narcissistic characteristics motivate us to better ourselves consistently. Without it, we would be fearful and lack confidence. It supports our ability to be driven, successful, and achieve what we desire. So what is narcissism? The defining feature of narcissism is an excessive interest in oneself. Every narcissist has a keen sense of entitlement. The world is supposed to revolve around them and their needs. They can seem grandiose and have a profound need for attention. So think of the energy vampire. The people in their lives exist for the sole purpose of providing them with ongoing praise, encouragement, and adoration. What their friends and acquaintances want or think doesn't matter to a true narcissist. In an intimate relationship, partners of narcissists always feel alone and neglected because the narcissist's needs always take precedence. People with strong narcissistic tendencies will use others to meet their self-interested needs without guilt or remorse. They choose friends based on their overall utility. Isn't that sad? They do not have the time or energy for anyone who cannot somehow benefit his or her unspoken agenda. If you do not have anything to offer the narcissist, you're no longer wanted, desired, or sought after. You will be discarded. You can quickly spot a narcissist because of their superficially charming and outgoing nature, something that they can turn on and turn off at will. You only see the caring part of their personality when they desire something from you. If their natural charisma doesn't work, they will blatantly lie, cheat, or steal to get what they want or to make themselves feel better. They are master manipulators who will not think twice about crossing your boundaries. They are arrogant and have self-inflated egos. They are brilliant, powerful, and omnipotent, if only in their own minds. Since they care about themselves first, they are often bad listeners. In fact, if you're trying to discuss something important with one, you might end up feeling as if you're talking to a brick wall. They just don't get it. They will often find ways of diverting the conversations back to themselves. They don't care to hear about other people's opinions, especially if they differ from their own. They are notorious for interrupting you if you try to get a word in edgewise. They use it to control the conversation. This tactic takes the focus off of them by redirecting the exchange, especially if you want to talk about an important issue or their bad behavior. This manipulation tactic makes it so that they do not have to hear what you have to say, thus avoiding the dreadful thought of taking responsibility. Ultimately, your concerns are ignored. They will maneuver you into feeling as if any problem that may arise was your fault. You will quickly find that you are the one who always ends up apologizing at the end of one of these dramatic scenes. You can argue with them until you're blue in the face. They will never apologize unless they want or can get something from you. And I'm going to read that again. They will never apologize unless they want or can get something from you. Even if they do ask for forgiveness, that does not mean that they are sorry. The bottom line, they are unable to feel remorse for what they have done. This lack of empathy is often the most visible indicator of pathological narcissism. Narcissists are also known to elicit fights and other adverse, hostile reactions out of people. They do this to keep getting attention. Negative attention or positive, it does not matter to these individuals. It is always and will always be about them. Narcissists, since they are bigger, better, stronger, and faster than everyone else, are envious of anyone who could potentially outshine them. They shirk mundane responsibilities. They do not and will not take responsibility for their part in any given situation. It's always someone else's fault and would quickly identify the guilty party. When the narcissist experiences positive moments, these moments are worthy because they, and not you, are supposed to have them. Negative moments, on the other hand, are not supposed to happen and can trigger one of their most harmful behaviors, their victim mentality. Narcissists rely on the compassion of others when things are not going their way. They'll pull on your heartstrings and elicit as much sympathy from you as they can muster. They are the masters of the ultimate pity party, which can suck you right into their pessimistic, fear-based drama. They will contend that they are being singled out, persecuted, or that the world is out to get them. They are merely innocent bystanders. This mindset helps them gain attention from those around them. People, if played right, will always feel sorry for them. They'll also vilify you if you point a finger at them. A narcissist will get angry because you are not considerate of them and them or their feelings. Come on, they were having a bad day. You, in turn, will become the selfish, needy, controlling, demanding, or manipulative one. They will project their feelings onto you and blame you for feeling a certain way, when in reality, those feelings were not yours in the first place. This self-centered mentality allows the self-appointed victim to hold you responsible for all their problems, thus diverting all responsibility from them. You're such an awful person for expecting the narcissist to live up to their word. But do not turn the tables around. Do not expect the narcissist to come to your emotional aid if you're having a bad day. Where am I time-wise? Okay, I'm going to read this. So there's also a second classification, a subclassification when we're talking about narcissists. And that's called the covert narcissist. So not all narcissists are outspoken and grandiose in their behavior. Enter the covert or introverted narcissist. This category of narcissists carries many of the same traits of their more extroverted counterparts, but covert narcissists are experts at concealing their true nature. On the surface, they can appear shy, humble, or anxious. They do not demand to be the center of attention, but will play the victim if slighted if they're not. These attributes can make the covert narcissist exceedingly tricky to spot. These individuals get their way by using passive-aggressive behaviors. They'll show up late, forget, or not follow through on an agreement. Instead of just coming out and letting you know what they think, a covert narcissist will hint at their desires with their words and behaviors. They add self-pity to the arsenal of manipulative tools they use in an attempt to control you. Individuals with this style of narcissism tend to be quiet and may give the impression they are good listeners. The reality is they are just critically observing and only half-heartedly paying attention to what you say. They are quick to judge the value of a person or situation. If deemed unworthy of their time or attention, they will act aloof, detached, seem disinterested, dismissive, or mentally tune you out or walk away. From the outside, a covert narcissist appears to be highly sensitive. Their feelings run deep. The difference between a covert narcissist and a highly sensitive person or an empath is the fact that the covert narcissist or that coverts are hardly susceptible to criticism in all its forms and not much else. All narcissists are triggered by any condemnation, real or perceived, but covert narcissists are quite uniquely sensitive this way. They have very thin skin. Their high emotional response can be misconstrued for emotional depth upon first meeting. What a casual observer doesn't know is that this type of reaction only occurs when their feelings, the emotions of the covert narcissist, are involved. The tears that well up in the corners of their eyes are for them and only them. This is one thing that makes the covert narcissist stand out. It is the fact that covert narcissists are like stealth bombs. You do not see them coming. It is one thing to have someone take advantage of you when you see all the signs and choose to ignore them. You will never see it coming when talking about a covert narcissist. They will target anyone they can manipulate, especially people who are highly sensitive and insecure. Julie Keating, in her article, 25 Signs of Covert Narcissism, a Special Kind of Mind Game, states, as if it isn't bad enough that they manipulate you, make you feel bad for just about everything, and that everything is your fault. By the time you know what's going on, you're so sucked in that it becomes difficult to find your way out. People who find themselves in a relationship with a covert narcissist feel confused because the subtype comes off as being kind and upstanding. Still, their actions never match their clearly stated values. People who finally extricate themselves from the relationship typically find a path of destruction where the relationship once stood. This makes the covert narcissist the worst and most insidious of all. Bum, bum, bum. So what do you think? So we're going to cover some of the other topics that are in this book because last week we were talking about gaslighting and cognitive dissonance, and that falls into, a lot of the dynamics that happens between people and narcissists. And so I just figured, I like to get on these roles. And so this is kind of like the role we're going to be on for a little bit. Anyway, let me do my little announcement and then I'll come and say hi. And then, of course, if you guys want a reading, you know the rules. Say I want a reading and offer a number from 1 to 3 because that's how many times I will shuffle. So, but let me start here. So if you would like a private consultation with me, please go to my webpage, soulhealer.com, because anyone can benefit from a medical intuitive reading, an intuitive counseling session, or spiritual healing. People that schedule intuitive healing with me come because they're suffering from chronic illness or are experiencing mental or emotional pain or physical discomfort. And many people use these services in conjunction with traditional healthcare. So you don't need to deal with your life dilemmas on your own. You can get clarity, guidance, and support from me just by going to my webpage, soulhealer.com, and scheduling a private consultation. And while you're there, don't forget to sign up for my newsletter, and you will get an email reminding you to about the live that day, so that you won't forget. Okay, I guess I didn't fix all this, so I'm just going to skip all that. So if you want to, if you're listening on one of the alternative sites like BitChute or Rumble, because I upload to those, and I'm even going to say Twitter, if you're listening to the show on these channels, what I highly recommend, if you want to join the fun and join the chat and get an on-air reading, is that you go to YouTube. I know YouTube, but I don't really have a choice here. And go to my channel, which is Just Energy Radio. That's Just Energy Radio, 3 words, and click the live tab, 7 p.m. Central every Thursday evening, and you can join the chat from that location. Anyway, that's the announcements for today. I'm going to say hi to everybody, and we will go from there. So we have Bradley in the house. Hey, Bradley. And RLCC. Hey, RLCC. And Debbie. Hey, Debbie. And I read it really good. And Wendy. Hi, Miss Wendy. And Joe. Hey, Joe. Victoria. Good evening, Victoria. And Don. You made it, Don. And Angela Rose. Hey, Angela Rose, are you a new person here? If you are, welcome. I'm not familiar with your name, but as you come more often, I will get to know you. So welcome. All right, now I'm going to kind of read through, if anything. You guys know how to make me smile. Okay, so I didn't read this. So RLCC, he must be friends with Marco because he says my hair looks great tonight. That just always makes me smile. Okay, so Deb says, happy Thursday night. Joe says, so much of this description describes my former. Joe, I have multiple formers, and it describes all of them. Thus the book. Thus the book. Okay, so Dawn says, I would like another reading. You didn't give me a number, Dawn, so let me just see. Okay. All right, I'm going to go down to Angela. Dawn, give me a number, 1 through 3. And Angela said, yes, new, thank you. Well, Angela, welcome to Thursday Night Live. I am so glad to have you here. We have a great group of people that hang out, and I'm glad to have you be one of them. So yay. All right. Not hearing from Dawn. So Dawn, I'm going to clear the cards and hopefully you will respond, or else I'm just going to pick a number for you. Ha, ha, ha. Okay. Oh, and Angela says, thanks for having me. You're very welcome. And we already got the spammer in here, Felipe Martinez. Hey, Felipe. Oh, I love it. It's Felipe, but it looks like a woman. Okay. So, Angela, I do get spammers in here that want you to get a private reading. They come pretty much every week and tag on everybody in the room. So just ignore them. I've started to just ignore them. Okay. So, Dawn, this is your card. Where are you, Dawn? Dawn. There you are, Dawn. Bam. So that's the card that you got. Okay. So I'm going to stick it there. So one of the things that I'm feeling is that you are, I mean, this isn't the best way of saying this, but you're being challenged with, is this what I want to do? I feel like there's a situation going on that, one, you're trying to make a decision, and there's what's going on in your head and one piece of advice, and what you're sensing in your heart, and there's conflict going on between the two. And what I would like to suggest is to listen to your heart, listen to this, because when we're in our heart center, when we're in that fourth chakra, it connects to every other parts of ourselves, and it's the balancing point in our energy system. And so when we pay attention to what's going on there, and it's also how source communicates to us. So when we pay attention to what's going on there, that's the road to choose. Not this road, but this road. Hope that makes sense. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to shuffle these up and move on to the next one. All righty. All right, so Wendy would like a reading on business. So Wendy, I'm not quite sure, you know, I never do cards when someone has a question, but hey, I'll stretch myself. We'll see what happens. We definitely don't want that card. All right, and she said 2. So we're going to do a 2, 1. 2 for Wendy. Okay, so this is the card that came up, Wendy. Well, it's interesting because I'm getting 2 different pieces of information. You know, so one, I feel like one of the things you're doing is experimenting and trying different things to see what's working for you. And I feel like that's been kind of an active process, which is great. But, and here I think is the business part. Okay, so, and I'm going to explain it from a Kabbalistic perspective because the verbiage makes more sense. So in the tree of life, the very lowest Sephiroth is Malkut, and which corresponds to the first chakra. And so from a Kabbalistic perspective, it is through Malkut that things are made manifest into the physical world. So the channel between the second chakra energy and the first chakra energy is like the birth canal, and it's being made manifest onto the planet. And Wendy, I know you can hear me when I make this comment, but I'm feeling like there's some obstruction there. Wow. Okay. And when I sit there and I ask the question, so what's the obstruction? Is you have a fear that if I make this thing manifest out into the physical, that there's going to be something wrong, that it's not going to be right. There's a definite level of judgment tied to it versus just allowing it to manifest and present how it wants to and how it needs to and how source is trying to send it through you, you know. And I think I've used that word with you before, allow. Yeah. So, I mean, because the energy is moving, it's just not moving out of you, if that makes sense. You know, so when I do these readings for anyone that's here, you know, please give me some feedback. I love feedback. You know, if you have a follow-up question, if it doesn't make sense, etc., please, you know, just put it in the chat and remind me what I talked about. Because sometimes this material comes through and I don't remember for like 2 whole seconds, after 2 whole seconds. Okay. All right, we got more Philippe, and Philippe Bradley says he would like a reading number 2. You know, one day we should like take up, you know, whoever these people are and see what they're offering. That would be kind of interesting. Oh, all right, Bradley 1 and 2. Okay, so Bradley, you started off with a MASH card, and we've talked about these before. This is where there's energy that you don't want to look at, that the energy is stuck, that there's some kind of blockage or obstruction. And so I am going to, actually, I like that card for you. We're going to go with, so I'm just going with the next card because I like that card for you. And so this is the card. You know, it's interesting, and many times, like, I mean, I've done a lot of like conferences and events where I'm just doing reading after reading after reading. And it's interesting because there are days where you just hit these patterns of energy that people are experiencing. And I feel like this is kind of similar for you, Bradley. You know, the word judgment comes up for you. Ooh, okay, in a slightly different context. I feel like one of the things you've been working on is just kind of like being with the energy, being in the flow, being whole, being solid. And I am going to make the guess based on this and what I'm detecting is that something funky has happened in the last day or two, you know, maybe even today, where you kind of have bad brain. And we've talked about bad brain where you're kind of trapped in a little bit of a cycle of negative thinking, or you're cranky or a little bit pissed off. And I feel like you are kind of beating yourself up for that. And my commentary is bad brain happens. You know, we get in a bad mood, you know, stuff happens, and it's just part of life. It's just part of who we are. And so love the bad brain, love the funky circumstance, love whatever it is, you know, have gratitude for it coming into your life, because it will, one, help it move through faster. And it doesn't make sense to beat yourself up about being kind of caught in your own energy. It only makes your energy be worse and makes you be more stuck. Where if you shift it and find gratitude or thank it or whatever, it will raise your vibration and help you move out of that negative place a little faster. Let me know if that makes sense to you. All right. Hey, Marco. Okay, so like you and RLCC already said I had good hair, Marco. So you need to come earlier. Hair is on point as always, and I still love you, Marco. Okay. And Dawn says thank you, and it does. Yay, thanks, Marco. Okay, so Dave's here, and he says, evening, Rita, I took your advice from a few weeks and took charge. I started making calls, and everything is looking up for me. I am now, after 40 years getting VA benefits here in Florida. Excellent, Dave. Excellent, Dave. I'm going to, like, you know, if I wasn't sitting down and I wasn't doing this live stream, I would be like doing the happy dance for you and spinning around in circles. So wonderful. I am so glad to hear that. And your energy is feeling better. I mean, it was kind of funky before, you know, and if you want a reading, just, you know, if you want a reading, just go ahead and put it down below. All right. Chris says, and hi, Chris, always listen to your heart. Finally got to you, girl. I'd like a reading number 1. Okay, Chris. Here's your reading. B is a weenie head. Hopefully he's not sitting there listening. Sometimes I crack myself up. Okay, Chris, your number 1 shuffle. Okay. And that card came up for you, and we already had this card. You know, I shuffle these things good, and it's like, it's just weird. Okay, so Chris, what is this saying about you? Okay, so again, I feel like you are being given the opportunity to make a change, to make a decision. Um, I'm feeling like there is some question of where the energy is coming from, as far as, is the direction I'm feeling I should go coming from my ego, or is it coming from my heart? Um, I don't know. This is my piece of my piece of 2 cents for you. So if, with you concentrating on and trying to make the decision, you know, maybe write it down on a piece of paper and let it go. One of the things about being open to your higher self, to your intuition, is having it be, and this was the way it was explained to me when I first started at the Berkeley Psychic Institute. It needs to be like it's in kindergarten, where there's not attachment to the outcome, and whatever it is, it is. And I feel like if you can let it go, then the answer will come through clearer, stronger, and you'll know what it is, and there won't be a question about it. I mean, I feel like the answer and the direction, you know what it is, but you're doubting it. So perhaps again, let it go, because if it's what you're supposed to do, it will come back. And if it's coming from spirit, they will nag you and nag you and nag you about it. But letting it go for 24 to 48 hours, the weekend is coming on us, you can put it down until Monday. How's that? Again, if that makes sense to you, if I'm hitting the mark on what's going on, I would love to get the feedback. Like Dave, that was like some excellent freaking feedback. Thank you so much. All right, so Pat says, I don't know, there's no picture. So they, Pat would like a reading and would love number 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and that's your card, Pat. Okay, so Pat, I feel like you're in a very active process right now. I feel like you are, I mean, what came up first was that you're kind of, and I'm going to say, doing some inner work. I feel like you are taking information and ideas that you've been kind of storing up on the inside and kind of cleaning them out, moving them out. I feel like you're making more room and more space for you to be in your body. I do feel like there's a transformation, there's a transformational aspect to this. And it's interesting because I'm feeling like there's a little bit of fear with where you're moving forward to. Okay. And they're suggesting, I don't like throw crystals out, but I do communicate what they share. So they were showing me like a green stone, like a jade or an aventurine. Like I like fidget stones. I like playing with them and putting them in my pocket and playing with them. And a very small piece of like obsidian or hematite. I prefer obsidian, and work with those two together, because I'm feeling like it will help you through this transition of releasing the old and being open to the new. I hope that makes sense. And please, again, feedback. Always love feedback. Okay. So Angela says, I would love a card reading, please, and thank you. Okay, Angela, you didn't give me a number, so I'm just going to pick a number for you, but let me kind of mix these up a bit more because I keep pulling the same freaking cards. Okay. All right, now I'm going to give you a 3, Angela. And Deb and Joe, you haven't asked for readings, so how come you're not on my list? All right, Angela, let's see what you got. Okay, so this is the card that came up for you. Okay, interesting. I mean, the emotion that is coming up for me when I kind of tap into the energy of this card and your energy is, and I'm going to say intimidation. You know, so it's a little challenging for me to separate out, like there's someone that you're interacting with that's intimidating you, and it feels more like a situation. There's a situation going on in your life that's leaving you feeling kind of overwhelmed or intimidated by it. What they would like to suggest is to take the thing that's making you feel overwhelmed and maybe break it up into smaller component parts, you know, because the individual steps that you will need to do in order to move through it, this situation, are easily manageable. You know, make a phone call, do this, do this. But when you look at it in the big picture of things, it's just seeming like overwhelming to you. So break it down, breathe. Breathing is important. You know, if you have any mindfulness tools, breathing, tapping, meditating, doing yoga, any of those things will also help let go of that fear that's kind of lurking in the background. I hope that helps, Angela. All right. So Dave said, should I stay in Florida or move back to Sedona? Okay, so I'm just going to look at your question, Dave, because I don't, you know, it's either a question or a general reading. It's interesting, Dave. I mean, I feel like there's some stuff in Florida that has been keeping you engaged, and you know, that you're enjoying. But I also feel like, and I'm going to say it this way, that Arizona feels like home. I feel like there is a peacefulness for you there. You know, so perhaps, and I'm just throwing this out as a perhaps, you know, stay in Florida for a little while. You're there, you know, and enjoy it. And then when you're ready, go back to Sedona. I get the impression that, well, once summer is coming, so it's going to be hot as hell there. Well, it's probably hot as hell in Sedona. You know, but I'm kind of feeling like there's like a 6-month window for you about staying in Florida, and then you'll be ready to go home. So, cool. All right. So Wendy says, so do I need to surrender to Spirit's process? Yes, Wendy. Okay, and I'll be a little more specific on that. So I just get the impression that you do this great job of like setting up the manifestation, but then when it's ready to trigger, there a lot of judgment comes in about this is how it needs to be and this is how it should be. You know, so you're putting in a manifestation for a new dress, you know, and that's what the manifestation is. And things are moving forward, and then you're like, no, it needs to be a red dress, you know, but the universe found this killer green dress for you for $10.99. And so you're just blocking it because you're putting conditions. I like that word. You're kind of putting conditions on what it can or should be, versus just accepting what it is being given to you, and being happy about it. So, hope that makes sense. Great question. And so RLCC, who's the first one, Marco, to say that I had good hair, would like a reading, and I can choose a number. Okay, so let's just clear. All righty. And we're going to go right there. Ooh, okay, and that's your card. Okay. RLCC, have you been having bad brain? Have you been kind of stuck in a little bit of a cycle of negative thinking? You know, so I don't know if that's kind of where you sit regular. No, you don't sit there regular. But you have definite moments. You know, and so what I would like to suggest is just to acknowledge where that thinking is and acknowledge what you're thinking about, you know, because there is the core of what triggered you. You know, we don't have bad brains unless we're triggered, you know, so by identifying what the trigger is, it gives us a better chance to shift it, make it be different, make different choices, et cetera, et cetera. You know, and as I was telling Bradley earlier, you know, and just accepting that you're having a bit of bad brain. You know, and if that's something you would like help kind of working through, you know, not just this bad brain, I get the impression that you kind of end up there regular. Can I say regular? Anyway, so let me know what you think. Wendy also, RLCC, what do you think? All right. Dave used to be on Bill Forte's Skywatch team and many radio shows. I know Bill. He and I are friends. See, now I'm wondering who you are, Dave. All right. All right. All right. So Dawn says, sure, if I knew exactly how to. See, this is the part that I like remember for like 3 seconds. So, Don, I don't remember what I told you. So if you remind me of what I said to you, then I can be clearer about it. And Bradley says, thank you ever so much. Right on, you hit the nail on the head. Well, Bradley, I'm sorry that you're kind of having bad brain right now. But again, love it, honor it, look for the lesson in it, because those things will raise your vibration and help you eradicate yourself from the bad brain. All right, Angela Rose says, I would like a card, please, and thank you. I thought I did one for you already, Angela. I did. Okay, so I finally got to you, Angela. Okay, so Amy. Hey, Amy, I would love a reading tonight. 2, please. All right, and Mark Eddy's here. Hey, Mark Eddy, and yes, after the show, I have to make sure I end on time because I'm going to be on a show right behind this one, talking about something, and I'm not even sure. Something, but I'm sure I'll talk about it. Okay, so Amy wants a reading, and she wants number 2. Okay, Amy, one more shuffle for you. Ooh. And Interesting. I always love when the same freaking cards come up over and over again. And I know it's not me because I mix these good. All right, Amy. So what's going on with you? I mean, y'all got bad brain. You know, I have to tell you, I haven't had bad brain, but I've just been like cranky, snapping at people because I'm just tired of them. Anyway. Okay, so Amy, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail, but I'm feeling like your feelings were hurt or there's something happened that's emotionally bothering you right now. You know, what I really want to do is like just give you a big hug because I feel like that's what you need. And they're bastards. They're all just bastards. How's that? Does that make you feel any better? So let me know. You know, please follow up with me and give me some feedback on that. Okay. Already said hi to Mark Eddy. And now I have Gary McNeil. Could you give me a reading number 2, please? I sure can, Gary. Let's see. Yay, a different card. That's your card, Gary. Ooh. Okay, and I hope this makes sense, but I feel like, and excuse the way I say this, but I just feel like you just kind of moved through a bunch of crap, you know, like these other readings, it's like people are kind of in the middle of their crap. And I feel like you finally kind of got to the other side of the crap. And you're like, you know, inside you're like, oh, because it feels so much better and you're feeling lighter and you're feeling like, wow, I can move forward again. And it just feels good. Own that feeling. Make that feeling be your goal. You know, and I'm going to say, I mean, the energy on the planet has been challenging. People have been stupid. You know, and I think everybody's patience is wearing kind of thin, which makes us all even more stupid, you know, but there's also the cycles that we go through. And I feel like the negative cycle that you had been in has finally concluded. Now, how long it's concluded for, I don't know, but I'm feeling like you're feeling the respite of it right now, and yay, and honor it and love it and take yourself to Starbucks or buy yourself a new shirt or something good. Okay. And let me know if that makes sense to you. Hey, Otto. All right. So Dave said, my reading question is kind of getting buried, so I'll repeat in the reading. Should I stay in Florida or move back to Sedona? Okay, so Dave, I did answer your question. Okay, so it does take me a while to like scroll through, and I will read every single post that comes up. You know, you just have to give me some time because there's a lot of people in here. And then Chris says, makes perfect sense. Thank you. Mary, hey, Miss Mary. And Angela says, okay. And Gary says, my mom has the first sign. Okay. And Debbie says, gosh, I guess Felipe doesn't want to give me a reading. My heart is broken. But Deb, I have like 5 minutes if you want a reading. Deb, you know what? I'm going to give you a reading. Oh, there's her. All right. Okay, so hang on. Let me go down here. So Pat said, thanks, Rita. Good reading. Love crystals. Excellent. And you know, and I'm just going to make this commentary, you know, so there's like what I think of, which is not that much. But, and then there's like spirit will like throw images in my head or tell me certain words. And they're the ones that were making the commentary about the crystals, which is not, in the forefront of the Dr. Rita toolbox. But if it comes up, it comes up, and I just, pass the information along, because really that's my job, is to be the, I'm going to say, conduit for the information. It's not my information unless I'm giving you kind of like guidance and advice, but not the intuitive part. That's all them. Okay. All right. Yeah, so see, Dave, you were wondering about your question, but I made the comment to Deb and Joe way earlier, and theirs are just coming up. Okay, so Deb says she wants number 2. Oh, and Deb, Raylan says, hi, hair lady. He's sitting in the chair. All right, so Deb, let's see. And I want a good card. Good card, only good card. I don't like that card. All right, here you go. So that's your card. But maybe it'll turn out to be a good card, because sometimes they are. So what I'm getting from you tied to this card is take no prisoners. I feel like your energy is, and not that you like live in victim mode, but is really moving out of victim mode. And I feel like you're just tired of it. And, if you could walk around with, an official Italian salute or Italian sign language to people all the time, you would do it. I feel like your energy is like finally getting back to where it was and who you were before. I feel like there's a lot more boundaries tied to it. I am going to put the word of caution. See, I'm saying this to you, and I need to say this to myself, about being careful of the crankiness and having like anger tied to the owning of your space. And so remind me that I told you this, because I need to heed my own message. Because I feel like it can get stuck there, and neither of us want it stuck there. Boundaries, yes. Cranky, ugly, like an old man energy. No. Okay. So Joe, I'm looking at the clock because I got that interview right behind this. So I need to make sure that I finish up on time, maybe a couple of minutes early today. Okay, so Joe says she will take a number 1. Okay, Joe, so here is your shuffle. Okay. And that's your card. It's a very nice card. Okay. So Joe, have you been, and I know I'm asking a question, and maybe I shouldn't put this out as a question, but I just am feeling like you have been kind of channeling a higher vibration lately. I mean, I think we all go through cycles where we're more connected and less connected. And I'm just feeling like you're really being connected right now. I feel like you have been really good about kind of moving yourself out of the way and allowing spirit to work through you. I feel like, having bad energy or bad brain, it's just like a no on the table. And somehow, and maybe we need to like bottle you and pass you around, you're able to stay in that space. So I'm envious of you, and I hate you, Joe. Anyway, let me know what you think, if that's kind of what's going on. All right, so Terrence B says hi. Hey, Terrence B. All right. Angela says yes. Angela Rose says thank you so much. Chris says, as a human, we can actually get away from the ego. I mean, honestly, can we? Oh, we definitely can, Chris. Because the ego is just part of the mental self, and the ego's goal is to protect us from what's going on, and make us view the world through our preconceived notions. But when we sit there and we respond to life from the soul, and from our, and our soul, in my opinion, kind of lives in our heart center, then we can get away from the ego, because the ego says, well, you need to do this. And the soul says, well, this might be something you want to try. I mean, it's a different voice. It's a different feel. It's a different vibration. And if paid attention to, you can't separate out most of the time which one's talking. And if you guys want, I can add that to the list of topics, because there are issues with narcissists and their ability to access their soul information, because narcissists are so ego-based. Maybe that would be a good topic for next week. Okay. So Dave says, excellent answer. I was thinking that too. You are so good, Rita. That is what I was thinking along that line. Sedola is calling me back, but I need that kick in the butt. You. Thanks, Dave. And if you talk to Bill Forte, tell him Dr. Rita says hi. Okay, so Wendy says, I resonate with what you said. It's given me a lot to chew on. Thank you for your accurate readings. Wendy, I just say what needs to say. One of the things I appreciate about you is that, you come, you get a reading, and then you act on it and do something with it. And, that is validating to me. All right, so Bradley says, yes, I don't know why, but okay. Dave says, I was part of the team that built Cube Satellite for UFO research. Okay. Don says, what next show and where? So I'm going to be on with Michelle Dorsey, and I don't know, but if I can, I will actually, you are on Facebook, because she's on StreamYard, and I should be able to live stream it to Facebook and YouTube. So if you want to hang around, it's going to take, I'm going to take a little break, because they have a commercial break at the top of the hour, but it'll give me a chance to get something to drink, etc., etc. And I will stream it. So it will probably start in about 10 or 15 minutes, but I'm looking at the clock and I got to go, you guys, but I will see you all next week. Okay. But again, if you would like to schedule a private consultation with me, hang out with me, help me work through some of your problems. I just give this very on the surface reading, and there's just so much more that could possibly be involved in what's going on. And if you need help to sort things out and get clarity, go to my website and reach out to me and schedule a consultation. Don't forget to sign up for the newsletter. Yeah, all that. Anyway, guys, until next week, I'm Dr. Rita Louise. This is Thursday Night Live. Be blessed.